Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant, and this is Lunar Flight. Now this is a game I purchased a while ago for use with the Oculus Rift. It's something I've spent quite a few hours playing, and it's something I'd like to show you guys. Now I didn't want to put the video up in Oculus Rift format. I don't think they're always that pleasant to watch on YouTube unless you've actually got a Rift yourself. Because you can use an Oculus Rift to watch these YouTube videos when they're in Oculus Rift format, but without one they tend to look a little bit dull, but then some people are quite interested in that, but a lot aren't. So for you, those of you that aren't interested in that, here's Lunar Flight. It's in regular mode, the non-Oculus Rift mode, and this is the first time I've played the game like this. So how I perform in this game is anyone's guess. I might be planting my arse straight into the ground. Either way, I'm sure it'll be fun for you guys. You're going to get a laugh out of me one way or the other. So the idea of the game is that you fly a lunar module, as you can see here, on the moon. It's a lot like the old game Lunar Lander, where you're always fighting with the moon's gravity. The gravity of the moon is obviously much lighter than it is on Earth, so when the ship releases its thruster it doesn't instantly drop down, it gently glides down. You thrust up, release the thruster, glide down. The game's also 6 DOF, that's 6 degrees of flight, or 6 degrees of freedom, 6 directions of freedom even. And you can see the module's got, you have thrusters on the sides here. You've got the lateral thrusters here, which allow you to go left and right. You've got your vertical thrusters, which allow you to go up and down, and you've got your backwards and forwards thrusters on your module. You've also got rockets. I don't think they're actually used in single player, at least not that I've seen. They're a multiplayer feature. And the idea of the game is that you accept missions and basically perform small duties on the moon. So we'll get into that now and we'll go have a look. So here we are, inside the cockpit of the landing module. This is a virtual cockpit, it's a VR cockpit. It's actually designed for use with the Oculus Rift, but in a recent patch they made it usable without the Rift. The traditional way of flying this game without the Rift was through a 2D cockpit, which is difficult to use to say the least, and it's not as enjoyable to look at. You've also got the external view here. There's our landing module. So we're on the landing pad here. This is landing pad Alpha. We've got a few cargo containers around it, and we've got a tower there, communications tower, and that's marked here by the highlighted graphic on the HUD there. Actually this is landing pad Delta, not Alpha. Landing pad Alpha is over there in front of us, just up the hill here, behind the service icon. And we've got landing pad Charlie and landing pad Beta to the left and right of us. There's also a little camp down in the middle. Now missions are here, and generally they involve us transporting cargo from one landing pad to another. As you can see here, transport 1,000 cargo units to Bravo for 1,250 credits. Or we can transport 8,000 units of cargo to Alpha for 10,000 units and 1,000 pilot XP. Now there's a difference there. You might be asking yourself, why would I transport 1,000 units when I can transport 8,000 units and get much more money. The reason is that when you've got more cargo in your ship, it actually becomes harder to fly it. Its mass increases, its weight increases, so you use an increased amount of fuel, and your thrusters don't work half as well as they otherwise would. The idea is that you increase your velocity in the ship. You can see as I press and release my flight button, I move up. As I release it, the ship slowly drops down. It will drop down at faster rate, so before I hit the ground, that's what I don't want to do. Before I hit the ground I want to thrust again. So what I would have wanted to have done. Now as I come down, slowly thrust to reduce the speed I come down at. And as you can see, I've also used a bunch of fuel up just doing that. And a nice little touch here, you can see the ship mouse functioning because I've done some damage. I'm going to repair that now. I'm going to refuel the ship and I'm going to accept this mission. So I've accepted 8,000 cargo units to transport to Alpha. So we can see here I've got 8,000 units of cargo. Now because that is a lot of weight, I'll get a lot of fuel burn. You'll probably see the fuel going down a little bit faster now than it did previously, and the ship's actually quite a bit heavier, so it will descend faster. So I've got to refuel. I'm actually going to go to the shop as well, and I can buy a few additional canisters of fuel. They're 1,000 each. That'll eat into my profit, but that's fine. I will buy 3 of them, which leaves me 7,000 credits profit, and you never know, I may not use all of these anyway. So we'll close the shop, and I think that's about it. We can get on our way. So we can also see different displays on our HUD here. We'll look from top, and here we can also change our display. But we're going to fly the ship from the virtual cockpit, as you can see here. So I'm going to select Pad Alpha, which is there. The waypoint's pointing forward. That actually changes depending on what waypoint's selected. So Alpha's selected. We've got pitch, roll and yaw here. I'll show you them as we get moving. And there's our velocity there, which you'll see. And this is our thrusting rate, as you can see here. So it's time to get going. So we've got to thrust up. Now this game, I really do feel, has got a wonderful atmosphere. Just listen to the radio chatter there. Really all makes for a wonderful ambience when using the Oculus Rift. I'm just going to apply some forward thrust now. You can see my velocity down the bottom there's increasing. The little reticule you can see dropping up and down, this thing here, that actually shows the target I'd be flying towards if I follow my current trajectory. So where I want to actually hit or land, I don't want to hit it, I want to land it on it, is the landing pad up here on the hill. I've got to get a bit higher in order to do that, and I've got to increase my velocity. Pitch tips me forward. As with anything in space, you've got to counteract your initial motion, so I can pitch forward. I have to then counter pitch to stop myself from pitching any further. That doesn't put me back to my original orientation, it just stops me pitching forward any further. So I want to try and get back to being level, which I believe is around about there. And we're going to continue flying forward. We've got a velocity of 2. And we don't want to increase this too fast. We're about to hit the centre point of the map here. You can see us just going over the little camp there, which is in the centre of the crater. Once we're over there, I'll want to start slowing down. My fuel usage actually isn't too bad. I'm just coming up for a quarter of a tank. So yeah, the cockpit on the ship here actually looks fairly crude, but when you're using this on the Oculus Rift, and this game was pretty much built ground up for the Oculus Rift, it actually is very immersive. It's something you just can't express. You know, we talk about games being escapism, and there's nothing that compared to sitting down at your computer, putting on the Oculus Rift, and finding yourself on the moon. It literally feels like you're out there in space. And in the gaming world, there's just nothing else that compares to it. It really is just an awesome feeling. Right, we're going to have to start slowing down my velocity now, otherwise I'm going to end up overshooting this target, and that's not something I want to do. Now, the way some people fly, some more experienced flyers, they pitch their ship forward like this. They pitch almost until they're horizontal, and then use their main thruster, which is the thruster on the bottom, to accelerate themselves forward. And they'll accelerate at a tremendous velocity when they do that. That's something I haven't been able to master just yet. Now, I didn't maintain my slowing down speed, my slowing down velocity, so I may end up overshooting my target here. I'm using my left and right thrusters as well. You can see the target reticule actually moves left and right as I do that. I'm coming in a little bit fast here, really, to be honest, but it looks like I might just make it. Yeah, I'm going to be fine. So as you can see, the little HUD here in the centre has changed. I need to align those 4 dots with the landing pads, the circular landing pads on the landing station here. I've just touched down. I don't want to touch down just yet, and I need to get the ship correctly positioned for it to be a successful mission. That's it. I'm down. So all in all, not bad for my first attempt outside of the Rift. Let's complete the mission. Unload cargo. Did I get an achievement? Or was that 6 more times to earn the achievement? I didn't catch it. So I earned 10,000 credits. I don't want to save the replay. That was a pretty straightforward mission. So we can close that. I've now got 28,000. I'm going to refuel. I didn't have to use the extra fuel. So let's see what we've got in the shop here. We get XP, which gives us certain unlocks. As you can see, here needs only rank 3. It's locked. I've actually purchased a level 1 thrust enhancement. Same with the fuel efficiency. So we can get jet power upgrades, and we get gyro stabilizer improvements. I'll buy that now. I think just 10,000 credits. There we go. I'm just going to turn my ship around, module around here. I want to get another view of the crater. Now I'm using yaw here to rotate round. Again, as you saw with pitch, it's something I need to counteract, otherwise I'll just keep spinning. As I get to the... So I actually want to stop spinning before I actually get to the orientation I want to achieve. Nearly round. think there must be some magnetism on here, because on this landing pad of some sort here, because you can actually see my yaw reducing, and that's not me doing that. Once I get to a certain yaw, it should stay fixed at that number. So it's probably because I'm near the landing pad. And yeah, as you can see, as I moved away from the pad there, the yaw reduced down a bit. As I said, there's wonderful ambience on this game. Listen to that. So this is pretty much the simplest map on the game. There are other maps, and there's also other missions. So here's one of the more difficult missions. Lost cargo. Where? Northwest of Alpha. So I'd have to actually locate some lost cargo, which would be somewhere out on the landscape here. I'd then have to pick it up and bring it back to one of the landing pads. Again, more lost cargo. Transportation mission. Another transportation mission. And here we've got a survey mission where we have to fly out somewhere in the crater here and collect the survey information. So I'm not going to take any of them just yet. That's something we can go through later. And I want to progress through the different maps with you guys. I'm going to quickly show you some of them now. And there's 3 different maps on the moon. The first one is the crater we just looked at. I'm just going to go trip through this again. And I can't skip that, so we're just going to have to wait a second. Be interesting to know if Sean Edwards made this game purely on his own, or how many other people worked on it. So, we start. We can actually see the other missions here. We've got map 1, which is the crater we were just in. Map 2, which is the hills. This is a larger playing area. The difficulty rating is slightly higher because you've got larger distances to fly over, which means greater fuel expenditure. Canyons, so hard, obviously, because you're going to have to get down there in the canyons. That potentially means smashing your lunar module up on the cliffs here and the mountains, and also using vast amounts of fuel to get in and out of these craters. And map 4 is Mars. Now Mars is a fantastic place to visit. You've got a lot of weather effects and other things going on here that make the game much more difficult. So I'll quickly show you what that looks like, and we'll return here one day to Mars to go through a mission. So the red planet. You can get the old desert storms, the sandstorms here on Mars, and they totally obscure your views. Looks like you can see a little bit of sand coming in just over there over the distance. Wind also makes it slightly more difficult to fly, wind and sandstorms. So I'll go up and give you a bit of a view of Mars. Now you might notice I'm lifting off slower here on Mars than I was on the moon, and that is because there's a much greater gravity on Mars than the moon. So our fuel expenditure is a lot higher, and there's also far less room for error. I can come down quite hard on the moon, as you saw previously. And don't smash my ship apart too bad. But here's a different story. Now you can't see the other landing pads, you might be wondering where they are. They're actually over the other side of these mountains. And yep, you can see I've nearly used a quarter of a tank of fuel, so even with the reserves it can take quite some strategic flying to get to where you want to fly. So that was a warning sign telling me I'm coming down a bit too hard. As you can see, I'm not even slowing down too much there. And there we go. So we'll pop back to this game later on and have a look. We'll take a mission on the moon again probably and work ourselves up to Mars. The reason we've got to work up to Mars is because I've got to get a few more improvements on the ship first to be able to fly efficiently here, specifically thruster and fuel efficiency improvements. Otherwise we'll be going nowhere fast. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed watching that, and I'll be back soon with more. This has been Obsidian Ant, signing out.